Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Ten Hag has made his #1 transfer priority this summer. Slow Sports News, it's Frenkie de Jong. It's almost like Ten Hag watches the morning show. Of course he doesn't, but we are in tune, I think, me and Eric. But no, not just me and Eric, but you and Eric as well. We were talking about this morning completely unprompted. I said that the player I would break the bank for this summer would be Frenkie de Jong for two reasons. One, he is the guy that Eric Ten Hag wanted last season, as we know. And two, he might be expensive, but if it's the right player, it's going to make a huge difference. You can't sit there and say that Casemiro has been an absolute revelation, and when he plays, we're one of the best teams in Europe, and when he doesn't play, we become far weaker. And then say, don't go and get Frenkie de Jong. I think that this is a signing that United have got to try and do. Whether it's going to frustrate people because they're going to say, well, he doesn't want to come, Mark, he doesn't want to be at Man United. The fact is, Eric Ten Hag wants him at Manchester United. The fact is that Eric Ten Hag's worked with him before. And the fact is, all last summer, even though the public statements were that United wanted him and wanted to be patient and that De Jong didn't want to come, there was always an indication that actually privately he did want to come if certain things happened, i.e. he got his payout at Barcelona. But look, where is this coming from? So it's coming from Alex Crook, who's Talk Sport. I know Alex, he was really good last summer. He puts a lot of work into his transfer stories, and I've got no reason to not think that this is not coming from credible sources. And of course, we know that Ten Hag wants him anyway. But there's an interesting development here. Ten Hag has made De Jong one of United's top summer transfer targets. Ten Hag hopes sampling the Old Trafford feel-good factor as United beat Barcelona last week will help persuade De Jong to join. And I think that was always going to be an interesting scenario where it's not about walking out at Old Trafford and going, oh, this is a great atmosphere and got a great buzz about it, which obviously will happen. But it's about that United team mixing it up over 180 minutes in Manchester and Spain against Frenkie de Jong and showing him that we're a good team. And that's not always been the case. You know, sometimes Man United want you, but you're at Barcelona or you're at Juventus or you're at Bayern Munich, and it's like, this is a better place to be. They're a better team with a better coach. I'm really going to Man United on the hope and the pay rise. And that used to happen, let's be honest. But you look at the Nou Camp game especially, we should have won. We should have beat Barcelona in the Nou Camp. Now, Frenkie de Jong is swanning it around the midfield in that Barcelona midfield. They're comfortably top of La Liga. They've only let 7 goals go in all season. They're absolutely running the show. And United roll into town, third in the Premier League, not even in the Champions League, and should have beat them and give them a hard game. And then they do it the same against Old Trafford. I think that does show to Frenkie de Jong, not just what Old Trafford's all about, but over the 2 legs, what the feel-good factor is and where this team is going in a very short period of time. So I think that would be a factor. And then the second point says the prospect of partnering Casemiro in United's midfield is said to be an attractive proposition for De Jong, particularly with United on course for the Champions League qualification. Well, you've got to be in the Champions League. We weren't in the Champions League last summer, remember. Now, is that a factor? I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm telling you now, Casemiro, I will put Casemiro as the best CDM in Europe at the moment, and therefore the best CDM in the world. I'll have that debate. I'm fine. Don't care. There you go. You've got it. But even if you don't want to have that debate, you can't argue that he's one of the top 2 or 3 in the world at the moment. And if you play with Casemiro and you're a bit of a box-to-box midfielder, which De Jong is, you're going to have a very good time because Casemiro is the shield, quite literally, and also he's actually very good going forward as well. So you create a partnership. As I said it this morning, you put De Jong and Casemiro next to each other. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the footballing world equivalent of Brad Pitt and DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in America. It's just 2 legends absolutely tearing things up. And I think it's a very good film, that is. I really like that film. It's low-key, very underrated, but I like it. And the acting is very good between the two. But look, we're talking about Casemiro and De Jong. I like it. I like it a lot. And I think that it would be that next step. I like Eriksen, I like Sabitzer, and I like Fred. But Frenkie de Jong next to Casemiro, supplemented by those players we've just mentioned, absolutely fantastic. Can United do the deal is the big thing. Frenkie de Jong wanted a payout to leave Barcelona. He was owed wages. I don't know what the situation is. Barcelona will be in the Champions League next year. Barcelona will win La Liga this year. But will Barcelona have a lot of money to spend? They want to spend money. Have they got any more levers to pull? I think Barcelona are in a very interesting summer. I think you speak to some Barcelona outlets and fans, and they say, no, we'll be fine. We'll find the money. We always do. We won't need to sell to buy. You speak to others and go, whether we need to sell to buy or whether we have to sell to buy, it's probably out. It's probably not a bad idea to sell to buy. So I think the reality is, my take on this is very similar to Casemiro, and I have no say in it, but I don't like it when United spend 90 million on Paul Pogba or 80 million on Lukaku or Harry Maguire or 50 million on Wan-Bissaka or 85 million on Anthony. I've got nothing. I like some of those players, but we overpaid massively and they weren't bargains. We lost money on them. Obviously, Anthony's still to be proven, but Casemiro, we overpaid for Casemiro. 60 million for a 30-year-old is a lot of money to pay. But actually, it turned out to be a bargain. He was probably worth 100 million, what he's done. I mean, it's ridiculous, but he probably is. The value of Casemiro is probably touching £100 million for anybody. You put him into any team. Imagine putting Casemiro into Liverpool's team. They'd probably be winning the league. Like, they haven't got a midfield, so you put him in there, it makes a huge difference. I think with Frenkie de Jong, if he's the player that Ten Hag wants, and he clearly is, and it's going to take attempt, because to be honest with you, Barcelona wanted to sell him last summer, and they didn't want to pay him off, and they ended up keeping him. He didn't start the season in their team. He's got himself into their team because he's a good player. So this summer, different scenario. Barcelona probably don't want to sell, but probably need to raise some money. If you're Man United, you walk in and you go, there's 70 million cash. All right, 75, final offer. You do the deal. And everyone goes, I can't believe they've spent 75 million on Frenkie de Jong. And then 8 months later, we're sat there going, do you want to have a chat about the 75 million we've just spent on Frenkie de Jong? You've just created the best midfield in Europe. Potentially, that could happen. So I think if I'm the CEO or I'm the director of football or I'm the owner, and Ten Hag really wants this player, which he does, and you see what's happened with Casemiro, you go, get him. If he didn't even want Casemiro. He didn't even want Martinez. He wanted Timber. Look what he did with second choices. Go and get him. Get every first choice this guy wants. Get every first choice he wants. And Frenkie de Jong would be it. How it would work in the team, for me, Casemiro, Frenkie de Jong, De Bruyne. Frenkie de Jong, Casemiro, Bruno. Let's play football. I think it would be a resounding success. I like Eriksen, as I say, I like Fred, but Frenkie de Jong, I was massively impressed with him at Old Trafford. I know Ten Hag said that and that's another hint as well, isn't it? Ten Hag said after the game, I gave Fred the job of keeping de Jong quiet, and he did it. There's two things there as well. One, I actually think de Jong had a good game, so it shows you that if Ten Hag thinks Fred did a good job on him, how good would he be if Fred hadn't done a job on him? But I thought de Jong played well in that game. And secondly, he's talking about him after the game again, isn't he? He's putting a player on him to keep him quiet. Ten Hag has an obsession with Frenkie de Jong, and when Ten Hag has an obsession, it tends to be right. Get this deal done. Get this deal done. Look, maybe it can't get done, but it's so obvious that Ten Hag wants him. You've got to try and do everything you can to get him. And the fact that we're being linked to him, to me, isn't much of a surprise. So I would go and do this deal. I would. I'd do it any day of the week. And yes, I like the look of Bellingham. Yes, I like Casido. Yes, I like Barella. But to be honest with you, if I had the power, He-Man, I have the power. What a show. That's not He-Man, that sounds like Airwolf. That was a great tune. Go and listen to Airwolf on YouTube. The music's brilliant. The show was crap. I just used to like the start. But that was a great show. I have the power, He-Man. Smash the screen. Great show. Orko and Tina T. No, that's Tina Turner. Teela. Man-at-Arms, Ramjet. No, that was a Transformer. There was a little Ram guy anyway. Anyway, I digress. If I had the power, I have the power. I'm annoying you now. If I had the power and nobody else did, and I had the choice between, imagine this: you've got the power. Jude Bellingham, Barella, Casido, Frenkie de Jong. Ten Hag can shut up. I'm in charge. Who am I picking out of those four players this summer if I'm picking? Most of you are going to go with Bellingham, right? Frenkie de Jong. And that's not because I think Bellingham's worse than Frenkie de Jong or I think Frenkie de Jong's better than Bellingham. I'm going to get Frenkie de Jong because my manager is Eric Ten Hag and he's obsessed with Frenkie de Jong. And I think when he's got an obsession, you bloody give him the player. I'm getting Frenkie de Jong this summer. That's the number one priority in the midfield. I said it this morning, I'm saying it now. Mainly because I think he's a great player, but mainly because Ten Hag is obsessed with him. And that makes me very, very excited. Well, I'll tell you what else makes me excited as well. Yet again, look at this. Eric Ten Hag and Marcus Rashford have been nominated for the Premier League's Manager and Player of the Month award again for February. And to be honest with you, who's going to knock them away? We forget about these things, don't we? Or do we? We're winning trophies, we're going through to next rounds, we're beating Barcelona, we're in a title race. But when you're doing that relentless winning, these sort of things keep coming around as well. I mean, to me, and I think to Ten Hag, it's a nice thing, but ultimately it's an impressive thing, isn't it? And you've got to give him some credit for that. Hopefully we can win both. And also I saw a story today, I think it was Mike McGrath, actually, journalist, saying that clubs have inquired about taking Mason Greenwood on a loan. Apparently there are still some leagues out there that can. Be interesting. Be very interesting if he was to go on loan, wouldn't it? I mean, I suppose it's beneficial for all parties at the end of the day, but I thought I'd bring it in there. But anyway, make sure you smash a like and subscribe. We've got our Liverpool preview coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. What are your thoughts on Frenkie de Jong? Do you want to go down this road again? Is it the right road to go down? Get your comments in below. Thanks for watching.